The phrase fake news may sound current, but since the dawn of media, readers and audiences have been fed information catered by its producers. With the War of the Worlds, Orson Welles inadvertently made audiences mistake fiction for fact, when a small fraction of listeners tuning in to the 1938 radio broadcast reacted with panic, thinking that aliens or Germans were invading. Today's media consumers must efficiently filter input from various sources and be cautious of acting without verifying the validity of what they are learning. Now, more than ever, we have to look past fabrications and exaggerations and determine the truth for ourselves. The most logical location to begin this discussion would be the internet. As an incredible source of information, the internet has granted us access to a multitude of sources from which we can freely learn what we wish. This kind of source can very well act as a trap, ensnaring the uninformed public through half-truths and lies. Of course, the internet can act as an omnipotent representative of truth, but behind that representative is a human being who writes to fulfill their own goals. As such, we face a daily issue of content credibility from that which we consume. We tend to search for information in a state where we accept the first thing as truth. It is a blameless system. After all, we have no prior justification, and it is our pure desire to learn that is leading us. We wish to paint our blank slate with a multitude of colors, and so we turn to the internet in the hopes that it will give us what we want. Unfortunately, it can be confusing to discern misinformation from the truth. To remedy this, I seek to set some guidelines that will assist readers to ascertain if the information is factual or not. The first thing that we can verify is the source of the claim. News can be distorted by excluding or obscuring certain elements of the story. For example, a left-leaning newspaper may omit some policy objectives of a right-wing politician to emphasize any negative points. This was directly evident in media coverage of the UK's Labour Party leader Jeremy Corbyn's political views. A London School of Economic Study found that 3/4 of newspaper stories about Jeremy Corbyn in the first months of his leadership either distorted or failed to represent his actual views on the subjects. Only 11% of news stories portrayed Corbyn's views truthfully. Otherwise, they were taken out of context or twisted. As a critical reader, it is important to check multiple sources when reading a story and to keep in mind what some papers are including or excluding. Readers can weave together their own understanding of the story and see past the disturbances that cloud the narrative. Today, power relations are increasingly played out in the realm of communication, as competing parties have a vested interest in monopolizing public opinion. Though the events themselves are important, it is crucial to understand that people can influence others through their impressions as well. Through photographs, people can be depicted as relatable or unsympathetic, or friendly or malicious. Frames are used to encourage a specific reaction or interpretation from its given audience. News producers may select elements that will contribute to a certain reaction and that will fit their version of right and wrong, all without completely obscuring historical events. For example, before the Syrian civil war began in 2011, the Obama administration was interested in improving ties with the Syrian regime. The president of Syria, Bashar al-Assad, and his wife, Asma Assad, are quite westernized, educated, and at ease in cosmopolitan European cities. These traits were emphasized during periods of positive Syrian-American relations. Incidentally, Asma Assad was seen as an elegant and stylish first lady. But as soon as civil war broke out in 2011, and the US sided with the rebels, American media began to depict Bashar and Asma as a predatory, ruthless couple. Asma, once praised by fashion magazines, was then condemned for lavish spendings on clothes and furniture with stolen Syrian money. Furthermore, the language used can subtly, or not so subtly, skew how we interpret the news. Certain words can influence the reader and change their interpretation of the story. For example, a party involved in a bombing that is labeled as freedom fighters sounds much more different than a party labeled as terrorists. Consider the language used by UK newspaper The Independent concerning Jeremy Corbyn's declaration for the many, not the few. The Independent states, Whatever you thought of Jeremy Corbyn before, you can't deny the manifesto delivers. For the many, not the few, has turned out to be more than a slogan, unlike Theresa May's constant parroting of strong and stable. Using a simple phrase such as can't deny is enough to boost Corbyn's appearance. In contrast, May is accused of constant parroting, which serves to delegitimize her message by implying she is repetitive and exasperating. While everything we read may not be entirely objective, it doesn't necessarily mean it is wrong. What it does mean is that we need to remain critical readers. Being informed is more complex than simply reading the news. Whether you are reading something that aligns with your worldview or not, be aware that the way in which a story is told is influenced by the opinions, experiences, and beliefs of its producer.